Hello ladies and gentlemen and happy new year. Welcome to my video of my top favorite things that I saw in 2023. Yes, this is a video covering my favorite TV shows and movies of 2023. This is not a top 10 list, not a top 5 list. It's just a list of my favorite things that I saw this year. And I think 2023 has been a really packed year. So let's just end the year by celebrating some of these releases. Most of the TV shows and movies that I'm going to mention, I have covered on the channel, either reactions or reviews. So if you want to hear more of my thoughts about that project, then you know that it's on the channel. Also, a quick side note, I have stopped pretty much doing reviews for everything that I see on this channel, but I still do reviews. I do reviews on my Twitter, and now I've started doing reviews on TikTok. On TikTok, I found it much easier because you can do 1 to 2 minute reviews. So, starting off this list, I have The Bear. Now, the only reason this is starting off the list is because I haven't actually finished the show yet. I'm a few episodes away from finishing season 2, but I have really been enjoying the show. The performances are great. The anxiety inducing scenes are fantastic. And I'm always amazed how much they're able to fit into their 28, 30-minute episodes. There's one episode that's an hour long, and that's actually the most recent episode that I've watched. But I'm just amazed with how they're able to pace their stories. And if there's anything that this show absolutely deserves to be credited for, it's the editing. The editing in the show is just out of this world. Sticking with Jeremy Allen White, The Iron Claw, the movie about a famous wrestling family called the Von Erichs. A few weeks ago, a trailer for it came out, and my friend hit me up and he was like, "Hey, have you seen this trailer for this new A24 movie?" And I was like, "No, I have no idea what this is about because I'm not a wrestling fan." And he told me that his dad told him the story about the Von Erich family and the tragedies that happen in their families. So when I heard that, I was like, oh shit, A24 is about to cook with this. So then me and that friend went to go see this movie together, and by the end of the movie, we were both sitting there crying. And I highly recommend, if you don't know anything about this family, go into this movie blind, because you will be shocked to hear that this is a true story. The performances from everybody are amazing. Jeremy Allen White, like I said, is in this, but the main focus of this movie is Zac Efron's character, and he plays kind of the one brother in the family that we follow the most. And I really think we should consider giving him at least an Oscar nomination for this movie. I don't think he'll win because, again, 2023 has been a packed year, but I feel like Oscar nominee Zac Efron just sounds nice. Also, like I said, I'm not a wrestling fan, but the wrestling sequences, the way they were filmed, was awesome. A lot of long takes, and I really enjoyed it. Moving on, it's time to talk about The Big Lizard. Yes, Godzilla. So I didn't grow up on the Godzilla movies. I never cared about the lizard. I didn't watch the American movies right now where he fights King Kong, and I think him and King Kong are now like besties. Don't watch those. Never watched all the other King Kong, Godzilla movies. Never cared about them. But this movie got tons of great reviews, so I was like, all right, fine, I'll go check it out. Let's see what it's about. And this movie freaking rocks. In this movie, the Godzilla is a monster. They destroy everything. But what's super cool about this movie is that the human characters, you really care about them and you want them to survive. You don't want Godzilla to step on them and kill them. I saw this in IMAX and the visuals are fantastic, but the sound design is loud and scary, just like Godzilla. This movie rocks. Let's switch gears and talk about a TV show. A TV show that is probably Marvel's best work in a very long time. And that is Loki Season 2. So Loki Season 1, and it's well documented on this channel, I had no belief in until I saw it and I fell in love with it. And then Season 2, checked it out, and I was like, wow, this is even better than Season 1 somehow. I was in love with the production design. The music is fantastic. The performances are great. And this is one of the best projects that Marvel has released in quite some time. It's fantastic. Again, this project and some other projects, if you want to hear more of my thoughts in depth, you can check out those videos on the channel. For a show like Loki, I did reactions to every single episode, so go ahead and check that out. Let's stick with TV shows right now, and this is a Netflix original, I guess. Pretty much one of the only Netflix originals I checked out this year, and that is One Piece. It's funny because it's not like an original, it's just a live action remake of an anime, also a manga. I'm not an anime fan, not at all. But I thought, hey, live action, let's check it out. And I had a blast with it. This is going to be my version of One Piece. Me personally, I'm not going to watch all 19 seasons of the anime. I'm not going to read the manga. But this live action piece is going to be my One Piece. Let's do one more show before we go back to the movies, and this one is Gen V, the spin-off of The Boys. I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit skeptical about this because I was like, well, The Boys work so well, and Gen V, it's a spin-off. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. Didn't watch any of the trailers. Honestly, in recent times, I've kind of stopped watching trailers for a lot of stuff, so I'm going into them as blind as possible. So Gen V was a huge surprise, keeps that same tone and fun and goriness of The Boys world while also being its own thing. Has some really cool twists on The Boys storyline. And also what's really cool about this is that now this story is going to go into the new season of The Boys, and then The Boys is going to go back into Gen V season 2. So I like the way they work it. Couple of penis explosions in this one. Nasty. I have two more shows that I want to talk about, but before we do that, let's talk about some more movies. So next up, I have Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Now, this will always be a special viewing experience for me because I saw this movie while I was in LA. And I saw this movie on a giant screen at the famous Chinese theater. That was a really special experience for me personally. I saw it by myself, but had a great time. Just like every other Mission Impossible movie, it's fun. It's fun to see Ethan Hawke, Tom Cruise do some crazy shit. My only issue with the film is that it was like a little bit convoluted. There was kind of a lot of moving pieces, but this is a part 1 and there will be also a part 2. But as far as Mission Impossible movies go, this one was fun. Probably not my favorite one. My favorite one probably still right now is Ghost Protocol. I really like that movie. I know some people say Fallout, but for me personally, I think Ghost Protocol was the one that stuck with me the most. Next up is a movie that I'm upset to hear many consider a flop of this year, and that is Transformers Rise of the Beasts. I had so much fun with this one, and I went into it with like kind of no expectations. I just wanted this movie to give me a good time, and it did. I thought Pete Davidson as Mirage was great. His relationship with the character Noah, I think his name is, played by Anthony Ramos, was fun too. The human characters, there's very little of them, but the ones that are there, they're important and you actually care about them. There are some corny moments. I remember this one moment where they were like in the third act, they're setting up this plan and they were like, hey, this tunnel is exactly the size that humans can fit into, so you two humans that we have can do this mission. Stuff like that does happen in this movie, but what stuck with me is the third act. I thought it was amazing. They took a lot of inspiration from Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War. I saw this again in an empty theater, kind of upset about this. I was getting hyped in my seat. You know, Optimus Prime goes, roll out. I'm rolling out. Let's do this. Cool battles between the Autobots and the Primals, and they're fighting a bunch of other robots. And then, you know, we all get attacked, and it seems like we're losing the battle. And then Bumblebee drops out of the sky like Thor entering Wakanda. That shit was so hype. Speaking of flops, this is another movie that I was upset to hear flopped in theaters, and I guess I was part of the problem too, because I didn't see this movie in theaters. I saw it at home. I did a movie reaction to it on this channel, and that is Dungeons and Dragons. Just a blast, and I'm upset that I didn't give them my money at the theater, and now it's considered a box office flop. But actually, what really surprised me about this movie is the visual effects. I thought the visual effects like popped off in this one. I truly hope they make a sequel of it, and I don't know much about Dungeons and Dragons. I never played it, but I know there's different campaigns. So it's kind of one of those things where you could turn it into a franchise and just have the characters do different campaigns. You can even have a whole new cast of characters go on a whole new adventure. But I really enjoyed this one. I do hope they make a sequel because this one was really fun. Next up, I have a movie that I have a review for, but I also have a movie reaction with my buddy Alex, and that is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. James Gunn has said goodbye to Marvel because he's now moving on to DC, and he said goodbye with style. This is a fun movie, an emotional movie, and a great ending to this Guardians team. Rocket has always been my favorite Guardian, so I was super excited to see that this movie was going to center him and that he was going to be the main character of it. And I thought everything was just awesome in this movie. Okay, maybe except the use of Adam Warlock, but the movie still great. Next up is the highly anticipated Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. This movie actually somehow got better on my second viewing. This is also another movie where I have a movie reaction and a movie review. And in the review, I didn't just do a review, I actually ranked all the Spider-Man movies, including that one. But this is a great part one of two, I guess. Visuals go even harder than the first one. It goes even bigger than the first one. The music's great. The voice acting's great. All of it is just fantastic. And man, I can't wait for part two to see how they wrap it all up, because I know they'll go even crazier. But hey, treat your animators well, okay? Don't bully them or don't abuse them. Treat them well, let them work, because they're cooking. These artists are just brilliant. And Metro Boomin made an awesome album to this movie too. Damn. So this is kind of going to be a hard shift here, because we're moving to Killers of the Flower Moon, the new Martin Scorsese movie starring Robert De Niro, Lily Gladstone, and Leonardo DiCaprio. So this movie, before I saw this movie, I actually decided to listen to the audiobook version of the book that it's based on, because I'm now on an audiobook grind, if you didn't know. That's kind of my new hobby. That's what I'm doing, audiobooks. Oh, what, you can't read? Yeah, I can read sometimes when I want to, but my ears are doing reading this time, okay? I really enjoyed the book, and this is a really well-crafted 3.5 hours of a film filled by, great performances from everybody. Leonardo DiCaprio was probably the scene stealer here, because he plays a very kind of different Leonardo DiCaprio character here, like an evil, cowardly person here. And I feel like we're not really used to seeing Leo in this kind of light, but I thought he did a fantastic job alongside everybody else. The 3.5 hours flew by because of the filmmaking, but the part that really stuck with me is the ending part, and Martin Scorsese is going to be upset with me about this, but spoiler alert, I guess, kind of. There's a scene towards the end where he shows up in the movie, and I got excited. Like this was a cameo in a Marvel movie. And he hates Marvel movies. So Marty, I'm sorry I even thought about a Marvel movie during your brilliant 3.5 hour film. Okay, so I have 4 more projects that I want to talk about. And as we're talking about 4, let's talk about John Wick Chapter 4. Somehow these movies just go bigger and better at the same time. This is a movie of John Wick just killing a bunch of people, but I have no problem with it because it's so much fun. Watching John Wick kill people in new and fun and stylish ways is awesome. This movie looks gorgeous. It's brutal. It's hilarious. And it's awesome once again. That sequence with the over-the-top shot, the over-the-top sequence in that building, damn, they were cooking with that one. Shout out to all the stunt personnel that worked in this movie, because they put in a shift. Here we have another thing that ends with 4, and that is Barry, Season 4. Barry is a show that I haven't talked about on this channel at all, but it's a show that I've really enjoyed. And Bill Hader, this time around in Season 4, puts in a double shift. He directs all of the episodes while also, acting as the main guy, Barry Berkman. And previously, he directed some episodes, but this season he got to direct all of them, and he did some really cool, unique things with it. And I thought it was a very fitting ending to the entire show. This show, at the end of the day, I classified as a tragedy. And if there's anything that I can say that this show did super, super well, it's the shift between having you dying laughing in one scene to being very serious in another scene, almost seemingly. Season 3 I thought was good, but I felt like they were experimenting with some surreal elements in it, and I don't know if it blended that well. It was something new that show was doing, but I really feel like they got a really great grasp on it in Season 4, and everything just came together to make one great final season of Barry. So I lied about there being only 4 more. There's 3 more now because I forgot to scroll up. There's one more project I have up here. Let's talk about that project. And that is Oppenheimer. I somehow almost forgot about Oppenheimer. And what Oppenheimer taught me is to not go see a 3-hour movie that's mostly talking at 10 p.m. at night, because halfway through the movie, you're going to be tired and you're not going to be able to retain most of it. And that was my first viewing of it. Now, I went to go see it again, and my second viewing was so much better, because I saw it in the ultimate way that it's meant to be seen, and that is 70mm IMAX. And I went to New York City to this one theater, and there's only like a handful of theaters that can play this movie how it's intended to be played. And there was a theater in New York City that played it that way. So I went to go see it, and I never want to see movies in any other way but that, because that was awesome. I had so much more appreciation for the film the second time that I saw it. Career best performances from a lot of people in this movie, and there's a lot of people here. And this movie is going to get nominated and pick up a few Oscars, I think. I think writing, I think editing, music, sound design. Christopher Nolan has to be nominated for Best Director. I don't know if he'll win, but this movie does so many things well, and this movie made so much money. Though it's not my favorite Christopher Nolan movie, I can definitely see how this is a triumph for filmmaking. Next up is David Fincher's super meticulously crafted film, The Killer, starring Michael Fassbender. I had a blast with this one because it's like serious, but it's actually like surprisingly funny. What was really cool about this movie is watching somebody who's really good at their job be really good at their job. Michael Fassbender in this movie is a killer, a hitman, and a very good one that sometimes messes up. This movie's hilarious, honestly. Could be labeled as a comedy. It won't be, but it could be. Yeah, honestly, The Killer is probably my top 2 favorite movies of this year. So we're here, the final project, my favorite thing that I watched in 2023, and that is the entirety of Succession. Because Succession Season 4 was the final season, and it did come out this year. I didn't watch it live when it was happening. I started Succession the week that it ended, like for everybody else, because I was like, finally, everything's out. Let's go and watch the whole thing. And I did a full coverage on all 4 seasons on this channel, every episode, new reactions, and I gained a lot of new subscribers on this channel because of that. I had a blast covering every single episode because this is pure drama. It's so well written. It's a story about billionaires and millionaires and how they are assholes and they do whatever they want with the world. And it is so entertaining to watch. However, I can't leave any Succession talk without talking about the amazing music by Nicholas Britell. I'm a huge fan of TV and movie scores because I think music can bring out a lot of emotions. It can do so much for a scene. And I truly believe this, Nicholas Britell created the best music work for a TV show. Not only is the main intro a banger, but also every single season he had little twists on music that he already did for previous seasons, and all of it works so well. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that will wrap up some of my favorite things that I watched in 2023. Just once again, wanted to celebrate the year of 2023 because it gave us a lot of great TV shows and movies, and some of you in the comments may be like, what about this? Well, I probably haven't seen it, or I probably forgot about the fact that I saw it. Let me know down in the comments what were some of your favorite projects of this year. You can do like a top 10 list, top 5 list, or just like me, just kind of scramble it all together. I would love to see what were some of the favorite things that you guys saw this year. But once again, I want to wish a happy new year to all of you. Hope you guys are doing well. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. Check out some of my other videos. Like I said, most of the projects that are covered here, I have videos for on the channel. Check those out, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.